everyone, Katarina here. Welcome to my YouTube channel and blog. Today I have for you a card with an underwater scene. This is actually my last video until September, October, but more about it at the end of this video. These are the main supplies I will be using in this video. I will be using distress inks and the cloud stencil from MFT to create the water background. And the stamp set I'm using on this card is also from MFT, and it's the Ocean Fun stamp set. So first I started working on the background. I pre-die cut a panel from hot press watercolor cardstock using the stitched rectangular die from Create a Smile. And then I started blending the distress inks with the cloud stencil to create waves. So in order to create the waves, you go from top to bottom. And the top is actually the bottom of the panel. I first place the stencil at the top and I will be moving it towards the bottom. And once I'm done, I will flip it. If I were creating a cloudy sky, the top is the top, the bottom is the bottom, and I would be placing the stencil at the bottom of the panel and moving it towards the top. I actually made a video with a cloudy sky using this stencil, and I will link it at the end of the video and in the description below as well. For the first row, I used the Cheap Sapphire Distress ink, and it took few layers of the color to make it a little bit more darker. I really wanted the colors to pop, so I just tried to apply over and over until I was happy with the result. For the next row, I used the Peacock Feathers Distress ink, and I also flipped the stencil to have different type of waves. This distress ink color is really rich, so I first applied it at the top, or better said, at the edge of the stencil, and then I blended it towards the bottom. This way I didn't mess it up at the bottom row and it really blended nicely. For the third row, I used the Cracked Pistachio Distress ink. I originally wanted to have 5 rows, where the third row would be the Mermaid Lagoon Distress ink, but I skipped it. Sometimes less is more. The Cracked Pistachio Distress ink, at least on this cardstock, is less intense than the previous one, so again I had to do few applications to make the color darker. And lastly, for the last row, I didn't need to use the stencil anymore. I also flipped the panel. Here you actually can see the waves, and I applied the Tempered Glass Distress ink at the top of the panel. Here you can see the finished background. It's not really perfect. I think I need a little bit more practice. I let it dry. I usually let it dry overnight or when I have a longer period of time where I do something else. Once the panel was dry, I placed it into the Mini MISTI and arranged the stamps across the card, making sure that I left enough space for the sentiment at the top. This card I was actually giving for Father's Day, but I also made one for birthday. The sentiment is from the All Occasion stamp set from Clearly Besotted. Both Father's Day and Happy Birthday sentiments are from this stamp set. Because I was going to heat emboss all the images, I first treated the panel using the anti-static powder from Iké Success. I just have it in a jar and I used a fluffy brush to apply it. I made sure I applied the powder across the whole panel. I used the Versamark ink as first layer of ink, just to make sure that the ink holds. Since I was using solid stamps, this is not really needed. I didn't do this on the birthday card. The main ink I used is the VersaFine ink in Onyx Black. This is a pigment ink, so it doesn't dry quickly, and there is enough time to apply the embossing powder, which gave me enough time to stamp the eyes of the fish. I attached them onto an acrylic block and stamped them onto the panel using again the VersaFine ink in Onyx Black. And since I didn't remove the stamps from the Mini MISTI, I placed the panel back and inked up the stamps again and stamped it one more time. I used a clear embossing powder. I'm not sure which brand this is. I bought it a few years ago when I started card making. I would say that any fine clear powder would go. Then I took my heat gun. First I made sure it's nice and hot, and then I melted the powder. Next I adhered a fan foam on the back of the panel, and then I adhered the whole panel on top of a heavyweight black card base. To finish up the card, I adhered the clear droplets from Pretty Pink Posh in the size 4 and 6 mm. And as a last thing, just for a little bit of fun, I adhered little googly eyes on the fish in the middle. This finishes the card. I really like it and I hope you do too. If you did like the card, I would really appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. As I said at the beginning, I will be taking a break from making videos of cards, probably until September, October. I will still have crafty haul videos and few cards on my blog as well. While I like editing my videos, it takes me quite a lot of time, mainly because my computer is not super fast and I just would like to spend my time on other things. So make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. This way you will not miss any of my future videos. You can also follow me on Instagram and Pinterest, and also hop over to my blog where I have more information and also additional cards for which I didn't make any videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.